The following is a CNBC original production.
The biggest opportunity you have from Harvard Business School is to go out and make a ton of money.
The first person who congratulated me when I got into HBS said, congratulations, don't become an asshole.
It seemed like an awful lot of work and an awful lot of pressure, when I first started.
For more than a century, it's been one of the most demanding and elite institutions in the world. From Silicon Valley to Washington to Wall Street, many of the biggest names of our times have one thing in common. They survived Harvard Business School. 2 years, $160,000, and an infinite amount of stress.
People are really nervous at the beginning. You're in a room with 90 people who you know are incredible and probably more incredible than you think you are.
Its alumni include the famous...
You do feel inferior at times. You do feel overwhelmed at times.
And the infamous.
Getting your master's, and where did you go to school?
Harvard Business School.
In Harvard Business School.
There are graduates who made a killing, others happy to be living.
Harvard in a large way helped save my life.
And one student who made it here against all odds.
My mother came to Kingston to get a better life. She's ecstatic that now I'm getting to fulfill her dream.
And now, an unprecedented look behind the ivy-covered walls. Hello, I'm Carl Quintanilla. Like the columns that support its signature bell tower, Harvard Business School has become a pillar of the establishment, turning out a dazzling roster of movers and shakers. It's done this by putting the best and the brightest through a program so rigorous, so competitive. This has been called the West Point of capitalism. What attracts them, and what does it take to make it? Think of a Harvard MBA grad, and you may think of this: a career on Wall Street, doing deals, executing trades, managing capital at the highest levels of the financial system. In fact, 45% of the graduating class of 2007 went into finance. Another 22% entered consulting. But others take roads less traveled, sometimes by fate. At a Saturday night black tie gala in Greenwich, Connecticut, the celebrities are out in full force. Supermodel Cindy Crawford has flown in from her home in California. Sportscaster Tiki Barber has also made it his business to be here. So has news anchor Deborah Norville. They've all come to honor the real star of the evening, someone who isn't as famous. But to people here and others, HBS alum Kathy Giusti, class of '85, is more than a star. She's a hero.
What this woman could do is nothing short of spectacular. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO and founder of the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation, Kathy Giusti.
In 1996, Giusti was a 37-year-old pharmaceutical executive and a new mother when she began to feel exhausted and started losing weight. Not long after, she was given a diagnosis that would change her life and possibly end it: multiple myeloma, an uncommon and incurable form of blood cancer, so rare that research was limited, drugs non-existent. Kathy Giusti realized she was dying.
It wasn't until I actually started reading all the statistics that I said, oh, this is a really, really bad one. And I thought I could deal with the word cancer. It was when I read the statistics that I really kind of fell to the floor and crumbled.
Giusti refused to become one of those statistics. With her twin sister, Karen, she founded the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation.
When I was diagnosed and they told me that I would only live 3 years at best, at the time I started the foundation because I thought if I lived, until my little girl who was 1, if I lived until she turned 5, maybe she would remember me. That was really the start of the foundation. I thought, let me fund enough research to at least have her remember me.
The odds were not in her favor, but something else was: her degree from Harvard Business School.
What I learned at Harvard was problem solving and creating really good action plans to fix it and bringing in the right teams to get it done. Anybody that reads the literature can see that it takes about 10 years to get a drug to market, typically, and it costs about $1 billion. What we ended up doing was breaking down the cancer drug development system. step by step.
It wasn't just HBS courses that helped Giusti. Her former classmates, including her husband Paul, all rallied around her. An elite group with money, connections, and a knack for solving problems.
People say the network opens doors after they graduate, but in your case, it was so much more important and personal.
I actually had a team of Harvard graduates that helped me write the first business plan for my foundation.
The plan was simple: get everyone who was doing multiple myeloma research to work together. For years, researchers had worked independently, and the results were not always shared. Giusti's foundation organized a 15-member consortium of research centers and also set up a centralized tissue bank. The result? 4 new drug treatments in 4 years, extending not only Kathy Giusti's life, she's now in remission, but also the lives of others. The goal now, make the treatments better and better until someday there's a cure.
The drugs we've launched, they're being used in 19 other cancers now.
How often now do the lessons that you learned in class get applied in your everyday work?
All the time. Here I am running a nonprofit in some of the toughest economic times this country's facing. That's not an easy situation to be in. But I will tell you, having been through all of those finance courses, really being able to understand the human resource issues, I think we run a very efficient company.
And the Black Tie Gala was proof.
The early tally, and they're still back there counting. We have raised over $1.2 million tonight for the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation.
The final total, $1.5 million. Another triumph for Kathy Giusti.
I love how she, kind of took this business brain and applied it to the nonprofit world to get real results. She came from Harvard Business School, and then now she's a patient and is someone who wants quick results, obviously, because it's a matter of life and death for her.
How much credit do you give Harvard for all this?
I give Harvard a lot of credit. I think, again, back to the case study, you look at things, you read the data, you figure out what the problem is, you create a solution, you articulate it, you implement it. That's what I did when I was fighting my disease.
It's not overstating it to say that Harvard, in a small way, helped save your life.
Harvard, in a large way, helped save my life.
While Kathy Giusti says her MBA made all the difference, today's students wonder if their degree will help them through a shattered economy.
I'm not really worried because I'm more of an optimist.
An optimistic view perhaps learned from his professor. Joe Lassiter says from what he's observed of his students over a decade at HBS, a passing economic crisis won't stand in their way.
No matter how disruptive this moment is, I am absolutely confident 5 years from now, they're going to be in very good shapes. They're going to be leaders who make a difference in the world. And my job is to keep reminding them of that, because at the moment, the pressure can take your eye off that.
Kathy Giusti, class of 1985, knows all too well the anxiety of an uncertain future. She believes there's an added responsibility and a leg up for those entering the world with a Harvard business degree.
I think the Harvard name gives you a ticket to help create change. And I think we all want a legacy, in some way. And I think in some ways I've been a little bit lucky because I was forced to think about what my legacy was going to be. I was told I had 3 years to live. I wanted to do something really good with it. But I think that's what drives us. We want to leave this world thinking we made a difference.
And that's the Harvard mission, isn't it? To create leaders who make a difference in the world.
It is, and I think we all take that role very seriously.
Others say once you get in to Harvard Business School, you're pretty much set. You're surrounded by others who were going to be pretty much set along with you.
People notice that school's name on your resume, but look, there are plenty of people that go in for an interview and still don't get the job because you didn't fit with the culture, you didn't interview well, your personality didn't quite shine with them. It's not, it's not a given.
The young people you meet here, the things they try to do are delightful to watch. And in a world where there are just not enough leaders, people will take on that burden of what do we need to do, how do we get it done. This place is very remarkable and its ability to consistently produce people who take on that challenge for us. I have no doubt that in their 5th reunion, we're going to be smiling and laughing.